All right, good morning and welcome everybody to your Healthy Self podcast. I am your host of the day, Cade Archibald, and really excited to get rocking on this beautiful Thursday morning. So hope everyone's week's been grand, and we're gonna jump in. So last night we had our Health Accelerator community course, and that was really awesome. It sounded like I was not able to be there. I've been coaching flag football this season, and these next 2 weeks, this week and next week, I won't be able to be on that because we got 4:30 football games. So that's been good. We're still undefeated. So go 7-year-old Rams. So fun times. And so, but last night, so if you're not a part of our hack community, get on that. It's go to ACU East West. That's ACU eastwest.com or .com/HAC, stands for Health Accelerator Community Course or Challenge. So we call it our Health Accelerator Challenge. And the challenge of the week is to do a super slow workout one day out of the week. So what that is that's typically going to be 12 seconds of push, just really heavy, and then it's 12 push and 5 seconds back. So just really slow movements. You can do this for your quads. You can do this on your for your arms, really any movement. And this is a really safe movement. So that's the other thing that's great about it. The other one is start practicing Qigong. If you haven't done that, get on it. If you're already doing it, great, keep going. And so that's the challenge. And Regan made it. He was stuck in traffic for a minute. I'm glad you made it, sir. I'm just going over the Health Accelerator challenge from last night. The topic last night talked about weightlifting, balance, and movement. Interesting fact is they found endurance runners there, or not runners, but endurance trainers. So if you're training, you do some endurance training throughout your week. You can they're showing on average 16.1 years younger on your telomere length. So really cool insights there. So make sure if you're not a part of that community, we just posted that link in the chat box as well. That's acueastwest.com/hack. So get on that, get a part of that. It's an amazing community. And share that with your loved ones and family. This right now it's a $500 value. We will start actually charging for this. So right now, get in that. There's if you get a family member or a referral, right now it's complimentary. In the next very short term, that will be a cost if you're not a part of that community. So this is today's podcast. We'll dive in on the topic. And I'll do kind of our sponsor of the show, the Smart Medicine. Go to thesmartmedicine.com for any of your supplement needs. Got some awesome stuff there as well. But let's dive in. So we got the founder of East West Health, Go Wellness, and just health extraordinaire Regan Archibald with us as the usual. And let's dive in. What are we going to be talking about, Regan?
Today is our final wrap up of Never Stop Healing. Remember, we're doing the book overview.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
and I've got the book. So just so you guys know, it's
it's
here.
actually real.
Yay.
It finally came.
And so, Kate, I don't know if the link should be live, which we had a couple minor tweaks to make on that, but we're gonna be just jumping into this is it. This is the third phase. And so, for those of you who are like, I don't really want to read or get the book, We'll have an audiobook coming up that will take a few months because Audible has some pretty intensive criteria. But that will be available. But for now, you can listen to these podcasts, and it gives you a pretty cool, like, Reader's Digest version of what's in the book. So yeah, so jump into that, and we'll I think you guys will love it, because kind of what we finished on was, we talked about mod SC, or we actually got to the area where we're going to talk about mod SC, and then we're going to dive into some real tactical things in the book on autophagy, antioxidants, and then we're going to jump into vegetables. So how many of you ate vegetables for breakfast already this morning?
I still haven't broke my fast, so
All right. Well, Cade's still on his time restricted eating process, but veggies are a big part of it. So we talked about some of the concepts in the book. You'll find about cooking your food. And one of the things that there's a lot of controversy around is, do you cook your vegetables or do you not? And so we're going to talk about this, then we're going to talk about protein, then we're going to talk about fats, and we'll wrap the whole book up. So really, first of all, like, this is something you guys may want to think about. But do you cook your vegetables or do you eat them raw? Some people are religious on hey, I just want to eat my raw veggies, and I love that. I love the way that it can make you feel. The problem is, a lot of you have digestive issues and you can't break down those foods. And so actually, if you look at even like a carrot, for example, you look at it's like net versus gross income. We get our paycheck, and then the government gets their half, our silent partner, and then we get the other half. And so it's the same thing with vegetables. A carrot, you're going to, if you eat it raw, you're going to get about 80 or 50% of the nutrients, whereas you cook it, yes, you kill off about 10 to 20% of those nutrients, but you actually get a better absorption rate. So it's there's some interesting things about cooking vegetables. There's super safe ones, like some of your mixed greens, your salad greens, some of the lettuce greens, or the butter greens. Butter lettuce, I think is what it's called. Those are fine, but either sprouting your vegetables, but lightly cooking them is going to help you absorb them much more. We talked about, leaky gut, added some bone broth, omega-3 fatty acids. CBD actually helps with leaky gut as well. And then fermented foods daily. So those are some quick tips. And then the veggies, we're going to talk about how much to eat. Some things never change. Eat your veggies. So this mindset reset, and that's Anne wrote that. It's just brilliant. But mindset reset, this is the mindset on this one. Vegetables taste delicious when I explore many varieties, cook them properly, and I can sense my taste buds craving them. Okay, do you ever crave vegetables?
yeah. Especially, like, I just love, like, leafy greens. There's a lot of times, especially right now, I've been really focused on Carnivore Diet, and that's where I'm still get like handfuls of just like some leafy greens that I really enjoy that.
That's awesome. Nice. Well, and I think that's, if you think about it, like, our body needs these macronutrients, and plants have some phenomenal things in them to help prime our genes and also to help heal our body. So some of these are polyphenols. And so you're going to find polyphenols in plants, and these are the micronutrients I was just mentioning. In some plants, they have thousands of polyphenols. They have flavonoids, tannic acid, egalanthine. These are some of the main polyphenols. Antioxidants are another thing. Antioxidants help fight cancerous cells. They help reduce disease. They help break down any types of cellular waste. So antioxidants are important. And then the other thing plants do is they activate sirtuins, which are signaling proteins. And if you've read David Sinclair's book on longevity, and we're right in the middle in our Health Accelerator challenges, our hack group, we're right in the middle of our longevity, 90 days to add 7 years to your life challenge. And we've been talking, we talked a lot about sirtuins, but their primary role are helping the cells react to stress appropriately, and then cleaning up the DNA when the DNA gets damaged. And then NAD is also, some of the precursors for NAD are found in plants as well. And the NAD is like the gas pedal for your sirtuin activation. Sirtuins are kind of like calling in the engineers to remodel your DNA. So it's really powerful. And then the NAD is like what maximizes their efficiency. So it provides purpose and passion behind them. And then autophagy, if you guys remember autophagy, what it means is auto is self and phagy means eat. So autophagy means to eat yourself. So Cade, yes, we are cannibals. Our cells eat themselves when one cell's not performing well. Kind of interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
So
A little dark.
what's that?
So that it's a little dark when you put it that way, but it's just ultimately that's your body's way of renewing itself, right?
Well, absolutely. And so this is, it's just a phenomenal way of cleansing out the body and just looking at it from a different perspective. When you have adequate levels of NAD and then the sirtuins are activated, then you don't have these cells hanging around that get old and metabolically active and diseased, and because your body just discards those. So our bodies have this beautiful way of getting rid of inefficient systems and inefficient cells. So yeah, pretty interesting. And that's what plants do, is plants activate those pathways. So we talk about the specific sirtuins, and then we jump into some of the highest containing foods with sirtuins. And so quercetin, that's one of those plant polyphenols. How many of you have ever taken quercetin? If you think about the fruits, the wild strawberries have this anti-aging polyphenol called fisetin. And Kate, I don't know if you've studied fisetin much, but Dr. Lawrence, who's been on the podcast, he's talked about that pretty extensively with melatonin. But fisetin is found in strawberries that can actually help improve the telomeres on your DNA. So there's a lot of research there. Dark berries have it, apples, lemons, pomegranates, dates, dark chocolate. So this is where, a lot of you may think, man, Regan's so extreme in the diet, but actually when you think about some of these plants and the vegetables we're talking about to activate sirtuins, which is all about chapter 13, it's all about this. There's some really good things. Like, who doesn't like chocolate? We say 85% or greater is a good level. And then it looks like we had a couple questions.
Yeah.
Yes to veggies. Awesome, Bev. Good to have you on. And then Diane, can you see the NAD levels in the body by blood work? Diane, not that we're able to test that I know of yet from a conventional standard. I think in the research model, they have ways of testing that, but not that I've seen. And someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, it'd be awesome. There's so many things I'd love to test, but we can see some of the precursors. And it's called an Oats test, an organic Oats test. And so that gives us the organic acids in the body. Okay, so spices, turmeric, chili, curry, ginger, cinnamon, capers, cloves, cumin. These are all great things to activate the sirtuin pathways. And then your dark leafy greens, broccoli, artichoke, red onion, celery, some of the herbs that I love, parsley, oregano, peppermint, rosemary, thyme, and basil. And then this is the real clincher, because actually there's some great drinks that I love, like chamomile, and that has some L-theanine in it, coffee, which I love. Take your L-theanine with your coffee. Remember that little hack. Matcha green tea, small amounts of red wine. So these are some interesting things. Extra virgin olive oil and olives, glycine from chicken, and then walnuts and flax. And the glycine from chicken, we have our smart medicine product called Optimal Movement, and Optimal Movement has this really nice collagen blend that activates that glycine more than any other blend you're going to see with collagen structures. So
Awesome. Hey, just wanted to update everyone. So we did post the link for Amazon. Looks like they still haven't updated the book, the full book on that link. But you can get the Kindle version right now. That's on Amazon. So you can just go to Amazon and search for Never Stop Healing by Regan Archibald, and that'll be in there. Or and obviously you can click the link if you're on the live webinar. I know there's people listening in, so go to Amazon and look for Never Stop Healing, and so you can get the Kindle version right now. Hard copy, we have it in the clinic, so swing by the clinic and get a signed copy that in the Salt Lake office from Reagan, or I think in the next few days we'll be sending out an email and an announcement once we get that link fully live. I don't know exactly what actions are needed there, but I think it's next couple of days. The publisher will get that taken care of.
yes. And the easy thing on the Kindle, if you guys say, oh man, I'd love to have this as a gift. Cool thing about the Kindle is you can just send it to people through their email. It's really nice. It's the easiest way to share a book with somebody. All right, so let's keep diving in. Okay, so chewing your food. It's not important. Just try to inhale it as quickly as possible. Is what we learned in the research that we did. People who don't chew their food have better digestive systems. So, yeah, and false. Okay, so here's what happens when you don't chew your food. If you don't chew your food, it's like not heating up the oven, and you go to cook your casserole or whatever you want to cook in the oven, and then you pull it out, and you're just like, oh, cool, we get to eat cold meat that's like raw still, and not really, the proteins aren't denatured. There's no real flavor that's come out of the food yet. That's what happens when you don't chew your food, is that activation of mastication. It activates all the enzymes in your stomach. It helps prepare the hydrochloric acid. So especially people who have acid reflux, I've seen acid reflux just go away by people changing their chewing patterns. And so this is where people just relying on smoothies can really weaken your jaw, and it can weaken your overall digestion over time. And so one of the things we've noticed is as we've had more processed foods in our diet, is even the human jawline, and our mouths are shrinking and our teeth can't fit in our mouths these days. And a lot of the reason is because we're missing primary ingredients and nutrients in our food. But another big reason is we actually aren't chewing our food enough. And so there's different techniques you can do to actually create a better jawline. There's chewing techniques. I don't know if you knew that, Kate, but there's different wedges you can put in your mouth, and that helps open it up.
I've seen those wedges. There's like all the guys that want like a sculpted jawline are sitting there chewing on a not. It's like a little wedge thing. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, and actually it's really good for your breathing, good for your nervous system too. And so, but just to not even you getting a weird device you have to chew on, I don't know, it's not ideal for most of us, but,
just chew your food.
there you go. There's something that you're doing pretty much every day of your life, unless you're doing a fast, and that's chewing. So, do yourself a favor, especially when you're eating vegetables, because your chewing helps activate these short chain fatty acids, and those fibers are what your bacteria just love, and so they will just thrive. So really important to start chewing your food. Here's some of the research on digestibility. Researchers have shown that digestibility goes from 51% to 90% when cooked versus raw. So just cooking things, don't overcook it. But when you just cook it enough to help open up some of those starches, get things denatured, you increase your bioavailability by 78%. So that's That's pretty impressive. The other thing you want to consider too, is, put your fats on after you're done cooking your vegetables. A lot of you, you cook in coconut oil or you cook in avocado oil, and that's fine, or you cook in butter. But one of the best ways to cook your vegetables is just to steam it in water. And so if you can do that, what you're going to see is, just this nice, gentle way of opening up and gently allowing your body access to those micronutrients. But then the other thing that will happen is then you put your fats on once you're done cooking it in water. And when you do that, then you get all the benefits of the fat, and you're not, burning off any trans fatty acids. So yeah, that's just a nice little hack there. We always try to have like a thing of vegetables, like a bunch of cooked kale in the fridge, so you can just take it out. And then if you eat it cold, so by the way, if you eat your vegetables and they're pre-cooked, but you eat them cold, it's no big deal. You don't have to cook them twice. If you like to warm it up, no big deal. But that's where you're going to get the most nutrients from your vegetables, because interestingly enough, vegetables, a lot of people, I've seen them do these cleanses where they do the juice cleanses, and sometimes they're putting so many raw vegetables into a juicer, or they get on the medical medium kick and do massive amounts of celery juice, and then they're turning off their whole digestive fire. So that can be good temporarily, but for the long run, man, we want you chewing your food. So man, and I love smoothies, kid. I don't know how you feel about them, but
Yeah, smoothies can be amazing. I think the challenge I have is, especially if you go to like a smoothie shop, they're all gonna be packed full of sugar. It's just that process of not chewing and then just ingesting a pretty significant amount of sugar. That's going to be rough on your digestive system because those enzymes aren't activated, and then you're pumping it full of sugar, which can be inflammatory as well. So yeah, you got to be careful with those some of those smoothies. But like if you're making it at home, obviously you can control what's in there. But when you go to the smoothie shop, yeah, there's sometimes they'll even just add sugar, not just get it from the fruit. And so you gotta be aware of what's going inside that.
yes. And even those nut butters, when you're eating a lot of nut butters, that will significantly impact your digestion. All right. So here's
So
the challenge.
a little trick that I like if you like to do spinach or kale smoothies, stuff like that. The one of the worst things is like just putting in raw ingredients, because then you're really not denaturing it at all. But if you like it, like what Reagan's saying is you can cook it. You can even put it like blend it up, put it in little ice cube trays, and then you can throw the cooked stuff from ice cubes in there, and it blends up nice, and you got like your smoothie that's been cooked, and you can digest it a little better. Obviously, chewing it's going to be ideal, but if that's like your preferred method of getting your veggies, there are some little hacks there that you can use,
Dig it.
and just probably add in some digestive enzymes if you're doing lot there. But then definitely get some good chewing, because that's going to make your jaw look better, and
Yep, you
all the
breathe better. It's just a win-win scenario. Okay, so the challenge is eat at least 1 pound of organic vegetables daily. You can even go up to 2 if you feel great that way, but make sure that they're cooked. This is going to help your digestion. It's going to activate the sirtuins, the NAD pathways in your body. It's going to help just increase your methylation and decrease your inflammation. So it's something that you want to just jump into right away. So yeah, we even give you our example. Fill up your frying pan with vegetables, 1.5 to 1 cups of water, steam them down, and then add the butter. So we have it all in the book, so you guys can read that. So pretty interesting there. Here's some benefits of your cruciferous vegetables, which we love. These are your broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, kale, collard greens, and they reduce risk of cardiovascular disease mortality. That's huge. 51% reduction in bladder cancer, reduction in prostate cancer, and then reduction in estrogen dominance. So especially if someone's going through menopause, what happens is those estrogens don't get metabolized very well. And so you want to make sure that you're using some cruciferous vegetables because it helps your liver process the estrogens. And then you'll have fewer issues with hot flashes. You'll be able to produce better estrogens as well. DIM is one of the, that's what helps clear it, as well as sulforaphane in these cruciferous vegetables. That's a major anti-inflammatory agent. Sometimes we'll give you the DIM, or especially you men, if you're, looking to avoid andropause, when your testosterone starts to wane and estrogen levels start to pick up, get on some DIM. That can be super helpful. Yeah, there you go. Prep, that's the biggest thing. We even have a chart in there about, kind of what a pound of asparagus looks like. That's three cups chopped up. You eat a cup for breakfast, a cup for lunch, and a cup for dinner. Easy. Beets, a pound is about 2.5 cups. Broccoli is, it's going to be about 6 cups chopped. So once again, yes, you do not want to eat 6 cups of broccoli raw. You're going to have a gut ache. So yeah, we have all those details in there. And then I have a little section that I put in on the carnivore diet. So some of you, if you have severe autoimmunity or if you're fighting SIBO, there's some great work by Paul Saladino. And he talks about the carnivore diet, which Kate alluded to earlier. And the carnivore diet's where you focus exclusively on animal proteins, animal fats, and you try to do it. You're going to have to eat 1 to 2 pounds of meat daily for about 2 weeks, and then you start adding in some vegetables. You can go as much as 30 days, and that's for those of you who you want to try something different. It's been a pretty incredible journey when I've done that. And I've talked about it on other podcasts, but it's something you want to look into with Paul Saladino's work. So if you do have a lot of digestive irritation, then oddly enough, the carnivore diet is one of the easiest things on your gut, because when you're eating animal protein, these animals have already taken the plant material and they processed all of the toxins, because every plant wants to protect itself. So there are some toxins that we have to bypass in order to get to the nutrients. But the animals have done that for us. And so that's where we can get a lot of nutrients out of the meats, the eggs, some of the healthy dairy. And it can be a very life-saving yet controversial diet for so many of our patients that we've seen. Even myself, I noticed that by doing the carnivore diet, when I did my 30-day reset, I just noticed that I improved my muscle mass, and I just had a level of vitality, because your body's in ketosis the whole time. So you have this just nice burning energy, and then you don't crave the other things. That kind of goes away. So yeah, something to try. I put a little bit about it in the book. And then the peptide is the MOD-SC. This is the mitochondrial growth, because you're pushing the sirtuin pathways. MOD-SC, what it does is it helps carry glucose right into the cell, so it diminishes any kind of issues with insulin resistance, diabetes. And then MOD-SC is also it's activating that NAD in the sirtuin pathways. And it's a phenomenal way to get better fatty acid metabolism going. So if you do, which I did, I combined MOD-SC with the carnivore diet, and that was just like supercharged my energy levels. So get your vegetables, make sure that needs to be a big part of your overall diet. But for those of you who need a reset, maybe you've got digestive issues or eating vegetables just doesn't feel good. If you're cooking the vegetables, then maybe you want to get a SIBO test. Let us know. We can get that test for you. Super easy. It's a breath test. And then let's see what's going on there. So, all right. So that's chapter 13. That's a big one. Or chapter 12. That's a big one. So now we'll dive deeper into a little more about what's in the proteins. So, Oh, and Joan asked, can everyone do the carnivore diet? Joan, that's a great question. I'm glad you're on here, Joan. Good seeing you yesterday. The carnivore diet is something that you'd want to discuss next time we're together one-on-one. But literally, almost anyone can do the carnivore diet. It's a really cool reset. So yeah, something we may want to consider in your care. Oh, and then we missed this from Bev. Is decaffeinated the same as caffeinated? And I think Bev was referring to the sirtuin activation from like coffee. And so Bev, as far as to my knowledge, yes, there's no difference, but you're going to get more antioxidants in caffeinated caffeine because caffeine is an antioxidant. So you're missing out on some of the antioxidants with the decaf, but too much caffeine, as you know, that can stimulate the adrenals and impact the kidneys. So yes, great questions here. Cool. Kate, what are your thoughts on all this so far?
It's amazing. And I think there's so many different components of health, and I think the cool thing about this book is it just breaks it down in really simple ways, and there's really just doable, simple challenges that if someone were to go through this and really implement them, man, doing really good things on your overall health. Diane asks, what can too much caffeine do to the kidneys?
Well, anytime you drink caffeine, the very first thing that happens is your sodium potassium ratios get disrupted. So your sodium levels actually go lower, and that can create an increase in blood pressure. And so this is where adding a little bit of sea salt to your coffee helps regulate that. Um, and then the other thing is you have a magnesium depletion with the coffee and the caffeine. So you want to make sure you're adding in magnesium. And then one of the reasons why people get tired when they drink coffee, you get a nice little boost from it, and then a couple hours later you drop, and then you're like, I need another cup of coffee. That's the wrong thing. Like, don't drink as much coffee if you're tired. If you don't get a good night's sleep, you just want to avoid caffeine because you want to reset your circadian rhythms. But if you do L-theanine, you don't get that drop in energy because L-theanine helps with the adenosine receptors in the brain. So when you're using too many stimulants, the adenosine is what calms down the brain. And so that's kind of like the gas pedal, or the caffeine's like the gas pedal, the adenosine's like the brakes. And because our bodies always have these feedback mechanisms going on. And so what the L-theanine does is it keeps the adenosine from putting on the brakes. And then you have to, because otherwise it's like you're pushing on the gas as hard as you can, and then you slam on the brakes at the stop sign. Has anyone been with a driver like that? It drives me crazy. I'm like, you can see there's traffic like a mile ahead, just slow down. Like, that's the nice thing about a Tesla is it's got the regenerative braking. So you just take off the gas and it's a slow stop. But anyway, yeah, that's similar to if you're just drinking coffee, no L-theanine, it's like pushing on the gas, and then your brain pushes on the brakes, and the gas brakes. So you're fighting against yourself. So just a little bit of L-theanine. And then, but yes, when you have that disruption in the electrolytes, which caffeine can cause and coffee can cause, especially more than about 400 milligrams in a day, that's when you're really going to start getting dehydrated. So hopefully that helps, Diane. All right. Should we talk about protein?
Yeah, let's jump into the mindset on protein.
So this is our reverse dieting. And this is where, when we did this challenge, this is where most people were like, wait, what? Because we've been, kind of like going through some time restricted eating, some caloric restriction, adding in the vegetables, adding in fermented foods. And then we go to, all right, now we're going to put some muscle on, because a lot of people don't realize that when they're trying to lose weight, they do calorie restriction, and that's good because a lot of us overeat. But then to a certain degree, we start realizing that, holy smokes, I'm now exercising more, but I'm not meeting my nutritional demands. And if you don't meet your nutritional demands, your body goes into an inflammatory fight or flight stage, and you actually start down regulating your metabolism. And so this is where in this stage of the challenge, so this is week 13. So, I mean, you're about 90 days into turning your body and transforming it into better muscle, better health. You're going to have less fat, and less insulin resistance is what we've seen in the participants who went through this. Many of you who went through this process, you guys saw a transformation. I know I did. I put on 15 pounds of muscle in this process, and it was really inspiring to me. So I know it works. And that's why we said we got to make a book out of this and get it in more people's hands. But really, mindset number 12 is muscles keep me fit and burning fat. Animal proteins allow me to keep the muscle on. So you guys, I know, and I apologize for the vegetarians out there. You guys are like, well, what if I don't eat meat? And really, there's great vegan athletes out there. Don't get me wrong. It's just really challenging on your digestive system to get everything you need from plant sources, unless you just have pristine hydrochloric acid and pristine enzymes, which you can do that on a vegan diet, but it is much easier to do this with really healthy animal fat and animal protein. So that's what we talk about in our reverse dieting. And we talk about the importance of this because there's a few things that are going to help you put on muscle and keep muscle. So one of the things that helps you add muscle is eating protein. And then by keeping your hormone levels balanced, men and women, testosterone levels help you maintain muscle mass. And I talked about this gentleman in our hack last night. We've got a patient of ours who's in his 70s. He's almost 70, 69, and turned 70 in just a couple months. But Cade, we ran his testosterone, and yesterday I was looking at it. His testosterone's in the 900s naturally.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep. So he eats a really clean diet. He works out, but yeah, he's a beast. So that you can have high levels of testosterone even in your later age. So, and part of it is he's very healthy, very clean animal proteins. So here's a study that's interesting, yo-yo dieting. So one of the things that causes yo-yo dieting is when we deprive ourselves. So you go deprive, and then you just you let it all go.
Binge.
But yeah, you binge. And so it's really important because it's easy to, eat, and then we go into snack mode. And so it's very easy to get out of control. So this is where I love time restricted eating, but here's a study that they looked at yo-yo dieting, and they found that compared to people who actually just did a normalized, they didn't do anything crazy on their diet, they just had healthy lifestyles like we're talking about here. 7.6% of those continued to lose weight. But the ones who did yo-yo dieting, 58.9, or did the consistent dieting, 58.9 had maintained their weight, but 33.5 had regained their weight. So they found that the environment and having a community support is going to be the most critical thing instead of trying to do this on your own. So calories in, calories out. So this is, we're going to jump into proteins in just a minute here, but the calories in, calories out, what's wrong with that philosophy? Kate, as far as what you're familiar with?
Well, um, simple kind of math and science would say, if you're having less calories in than what you're burning, you're going to lose weight. Which, yes, in the short term that does work. The problem is just to the point of where what you stated before is your body can get in that fight or flight mode where it starts actually lowering your metabolism and lowering your your resting caloric output. And so you can burn up some of your hormones and adrenals, and it's just not an ideal scenario with if that's the only way you're measuring things. And also, what you're putting in your body and what gets absorbed nutritionally and utilized by the body is really critical. And I think a lot of times, and people are just looking at their calories. Like I've looked at some of those, some like traditional, like Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. There's been a lot of different kind of diet fads out there, and they're having like cookies and like just desserts that, yeah, it's low calories, but really what's the nutritional value that you're putting in there, and is that actually doing your body well and good?
Yeah.
It's not
And
all calories are created equal.
yeah, exactly. Not all calories are created equal. And then your body has two different energy systems, right? You have the metabolism that takes place in your stomach, your small intestine, your liver. And then once it hits your large intestine or your large colon, then the bacteria also either they need food too. So you're eating twice with the same food. And when they're eating, they can actually store more calories, which is not good because you have to burn those calories off, or they burn more calories for you. So this is where, when you look at fecal matter transplants, we've seen lots of interesting studies where you can take the fecal matter, and we usually do this in mice studies, but you can see it in human studies too. But if you take obese mice and you do a fecal matter transplant into skinny mice, the skinny mice become fat, obese mice. Whereas if you take the poop from the skinny mice and you put it into obese mice, then the obese mice become skinny. So, and we've seen that in humans too. It's powerful, but don't just go doing that. You need to have genetic matching. You can get some diseases, and there's, we did it pretty heavily about 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. More and more clinics, holistic clinics were doing it, but then, the FDA said, hey, we got to have more, more research and genetic matching on this. So usually you can only get it now medically if you have C. diff, and that's the best treatment for it. So don't just skip all of the other treatments. Just if you ever happen to get C. diff, just work with your GI doctor. Unless you don't have any symptoms, then we can help you with that. But in most cases, we say go work with this GI doctor and get fecal matter transplant. It'll save your life. So anyway, so yeah, there's a bunch of different factors when you think of calories in, calories out. The old equation, and it's still somewhat, I mean, there's no, don't get me wrong, like counting calories is actually really important, especially for those of us who really love food. It's easy when you get to the end of the day, you say, wow, I consumed 4,000 calories, but I only burned off about 2,000 because I was sedentary all day. I didn't have a chance to exercise. So it's really important to look at those. But like Kate said, get the quality of calories first, and then look at, quantity. So yo-yo dieting is detrimental to everybody's health. In this chapter, we talk about proteins. So proteins are really interesting. And if you look at a serving size of protein, you want to be eating about 21 to 30, maybe even 40 grams of protein every single meal. And so that's we have the portions by hand, so you can use that as a little trick of seeing what you want in your food, on your plate from a carbohydrates, fats, proteins perspective. But in this chapter, we talk about, first of all, avoid the factory farm meats. Make sure you're working with local farmers. I love the farms out in Camas. The Ballerina farms are phenomenal. Heritage Farms out of Bernal is another one that we use. They have duck eggs, which I love. So, and I think, Bev, you turned me on to Heritage Farms. Those guys have been great.
Down here we have Bar 10.
Bar 10, that's right. Yep. Down in St. George. And then hit up the farmers markets. I mean, they're phenomenal. And so the type of meat that you want to eat, energetically, it's really important. This is one thing I love about the Jewish community is the kosher foods. It goes down to the very way that the animal is sacrificed. And so there's a lot of intention that goes around the food. And I think anyone, if you can put some intention around what you're eating, it's really important. So see that it's certified organic, grass-fed and grass-finished. So this is where it's great to kind of know the source, because you can have a grass-fed animal and then you send them to the feedlot for the last 3 months of their life and they get fattened up, and then it's not grass finished. So you're going to lose some of the benefits. Make sure there's no growth hormones, no antibiotics used, no GMO feed, because the GMOs are where you're going to get the glyphosate sprayed on the plants that they're eating, and then that gets into the animal. No artificial flavors, additives, nitrate free. Watch out for that. The nitrates are usually used to for not only preservatives, but also for color. And then free range, go ahead, kid.
Interesting. I just barely, as we're going through this, I had an email pop up, and it's the truth about red meats. Dave Asprey just wrote something on his blog, but I saw an article earlier this week saying red meat, how it's one of the worst things for you as far as cancer risks and different things, which that can be true, but it goes back to this fact of the source. So if you're eating a lot of processed meats like hot dogs, bologna, deli meats, they're all really high in omega-6. They also have mold toxins, mycotoxins, nitrates that just kill off your bacteria, and they grow your bad gut bacteria. And so that can have a whole host of problems, and that's why most your articles and most your research is going to show red meat is bad because they just generalize it. But when you can get a really good source, you look at all these bullet points, you get it organic, grass-fed. Those things can be amazing for good fatty acids and high nutrition and good quality proteins.
And the other thing that you want to be aware of too is a lot of those studies, it's what do most Americans eat with meat? They're eating processed breads. They're eating a lot of potatoes or a lot of starchy carbs. They're not getting their micronutrients in. This is where Paul Saladino, when he was doing his research on the carnivore diet, he found that if you're just eating meat, and sometimes if you didn't eat organic meat, it didn't have near the impact that it would on your blood labs as if you're eating the typical conventional meat with all the other crap that you put with it. So just in case you're like, man, I can't afford this, all this free range chicken, I can't afford the grass-fed, grass-finished, it just doesn't work in my budget, especially if I'm eating a pound of vegetables. Then it's okay, well, if you're eating super clean, your body can handle that much better than if you're not. So just to know, there's always little caveats here, and yeah, it's really easy to put blame on, we went through the fat-free. The fat-free has been going on since Eisenhower was a president, so almost 70 years. And we're still we love to blame something that's caused heart disease, but we don't look at all the facets around it. So this is
never just one thing. There's all these combos.
Yeah. And man, I can tell you the patients of mine who are older, who eat really good meat, and they don't eat a bunch of candy and sweets and processed foods, and they're doing great. They're doing great in their 70s, 80s, better than ever. So, all right, eggs, free range, free roam. If you have, chickens, a lot of people are getting chickens these days. We have this resurgence of, kind of the metro farmer, which I love. So get your chicken on, and then fish. Fish is something you got to be careful. Wild caught, never farmed, raised. There are some exceptions to that. So, there are certain farmed fish. There's little pockets, little farms outside of Norway, where some of the cleanest waters, most pristine you can be in. And the way that they farm the fish is a lot more sustainable for the ocean in general. And then there's another place in Scotland. So there are some really biodiverse, environmentally friendly, healthy farms out there. So this is starting to change. In the past, it was let's load as many fish as we could, and you go on the salmon were like not even orange anymore. They lost all their beta carotene, all the life was sucked out of them. Now there's ways that they've actually, some of these fishermen have gotten super smart. We realized that, hey, the ocean has been, we put a huge burden on it. Let's keep the ocean wild, but let's, some of these fish that we want, let's have some healthy ways of bringing it in. And actually, the Hawaiian culture thousands of years ago, they had their own fishing process where they would, when the tide would come up, they would create these nice little catchments where fish would come into an area and they would be able to catch fish without going deep into the ocean. So, farming fish is, we've been doing that as humans for a long time. There's just a right way to do it and a wrong way. So shrimp, sometimes you want to look out for shrimp because it has preservatives in it, especially the cooked shrimp, like the sodium tripolyphosphate. Or the trisodium phosphate. These things can really cause a lot of irritation to your gut, leaky gut, and then it can even expose you to some xenoestrogens, which are some of the plastics that end up in the shrimp. So you kind of want to be careful with eating a whole lot of shrimp, even though they're tasty. So all right, so protein. So here's the challenge. I shared a little study in here, so you'll want to get the book and read the study. But the challenge was to eat more protein. And if your goal, I said, try to just do 2 weeks on 150 grams of protein every day. And so that's like 30 to 40 grams per meal. Most of you are not doing that much. And so we share some tracking apps like Lose It or MyFitnessPal that you can use. But doing this challenge, we said, make sure you've already done your Love Your Liver challenge. You've optimized your gut. You've done the veggies, the 3 challenges before this, and then increase the protein. If you get gas, if you get bloated, you're probably not digesting them very well. So make sure you have adequate digestive enzymes, even some probiotics and prebiotics, but give that a try. Some phenomenal things can happen. And then as far as peptides, the peptide for better protein absorption is KPV. This is a tripeptide that helps calm inflammation. And its studies are showing that it can actually put mice with colitis into remission. So KPV is a very powerful peptide. It can help eradicate Lyme, Epstein-Barr, and chronic viral infections. So that's the peptide we put in there. So the cool thing about this book is we tried to structure it in a way where you got real actionable items when it comes to lifestyle. And then for those of you who are like me and you want to optimize the lifestyle, then you have peptides and you typically have some kind of herbal supplement to go along with it. All right, so now we're getting into fats. And once again, we keep pushing out our podcast guests and we say, well, we're trying to get the book done. So I think we're going to have to do fats and then peptides next week. And I think it's just going to have to be okay. So I apologize, everybody. We go into some of the detail, but there's so much fascinating information. I mean, this is already 3 hours that we've done on the book. And so this is a book that's just it's chock full of great information. Anyone who wants to transform their health, this needs to be on their bookshelf. This needs to be first, before you come visit us, read this book. That would be my goal for every new patient. Try this first, and maybe you'll never have to be a patient, or maybe you'll just want to work with me to optimize your health, which is what I love. And so throughout the book, I'm sharing with people, hey, reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys. So if you guys have friends, family, loved ones, once again, we are doing our holiday gift bag. Those should be ready in about a week from now. We'll have the holiday gift bag. We will have the active links. You can purchase your copy on Amazon. We only have a few copies in at the clinic here in Salt Lake, so we're not quite ready, but we will be ready. But yes, so hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. For all of you who were in the beta group, the first hack that we actually did, man, I just really appreciate you guys for giving us insights, We appreciate your great reviews. So if you read this book, please get on Amazon and give us a great review. Get on iTunes, give us a great review as well. It helps more people find us. So appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week, and we'll go through the rest of the book.
Awesome. And there was a few questions coming through the chat box on having a tough time getting the link. Put your email into the chat box there, and then Shawnee will add you, at least be able to email you the registration link so you can get an updated link for that, Allie. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Regan, amazing book. We made it through a couple chapters today. We're gonna finish it next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And while you guys are here, go over to thesmartmedicine.com. That's thesmartmedicine.com, and take a look at some of those supplements. There's some great things there, and that's our sponsor of the show. And then, like Reagan said, we're going to be sending out some holiday. We have some different holiday promotions. There'll be a Black Friday deal as well as this book, the book bag. So keep your eyes out for that. And you guys have an amazing week. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week. See y'all.
Bye-bye.